Well, welcome back, YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Today I'm going to compare Skyrim to Enderal, the total conversion, well, of Skyrim. So it's kind of crazy because both games share the same engine and assets by Bethesda, but still they're two completely different games, so why not compare the two? So let's first talk about world design. Well, this is pretty much a matter of taste, right? I personally didn't really like the cold, harsh feel that Skyrim had, but it's a great open world, and everywhere you look there's something interesting where you can go and explore. Enderal, I think that the world looks a lot better aesthetically. Almost every region of Enderal has a different look and feel to it. Also, in Skyrim, most dungeons feel copy-pasted, while in Enderal they're handmade. You can tell they're well decorated. So, in terms of world design, I think Enderal wins. Now, what about story? Well, I think also Enderal wins in terms of the main story. Right? In Skyrim, you were just basically the one, the Dragonborn, and it's not really that different from previous Elder Scrolls games, like Morrowind. You were the one to unite all the tribes and kill the bad guy. Elder Scrolls Oblivion, you were the one to close the gates and kill the bad guy in the end, and so forth and so forth. So Bethesda, for their new Elder Scrolls 6 game, will need a better scriptwriter, I think. Now in Enderal, the main quest is quite detailed, really deep, grounded in really grounded in political issues of today, and fate versus religion, and all these things come together quite nicely. So I think in terms of the main story, Enderal wins. Now what about quests? To be really honest, I think the Skyrim quests are better. Not because, well, first of all, there's a lot more of them, but I do think they're a lot of them are pretty forgettable. How they're mostly the outcomes of the quests, but still, I think they're better than Enderal's, mainly because of one thing that Skyrim has, and that's a really great guild quest line, and that's the Dark Brotherhood. That is missing, or something similar is missing in Enderal. Enderal has a bunch of really great quests, don't get me wrong, but not a whole lot of memorable characters, right? In Skyrim, the one NPC that really stood out in the whole game was Cicero. Because of Cicero, I think, again, Dark Brotherhood questline, because of Cicero, I think Skyrim wins in terms of questing. Now, what about leveling? Well, personally, again, Skyrim wins because the leveling system in Skyrim feels more natural. Leveling while you do things. That's basically how I sum up the leveling system in Skyrim. And I really like the perk system also. Now in Enderal, leveling is all over the place. There are basically 3 different things you do with your character, right? If you level up, you choose to raise your mana or your health bar or your stamina, and then you still have to buy books in the shop to raise specific stats, like one-handed sword, two-handed sword. It feels like it's a chore, right? It feels like a chore, it feels like a grind. It feels like a grind more than Skyrim. Also, Skyrim is also a grind, of course, but Enderal, you really feel that, okay, I need money. And with the money, I buy the books and I raise my stats. That's priority, right? And it just becomes old after a while, and they also have the perk system in a different way, like with the different pedestals. You can choose different paths with perks and all that. So it's really all over the place in Enderal. So I prefer a simple, I don't know, just a convenient leveling system, right? And that is in Skyrim. What about loot? Again, Skyrim wins, definitely. Because looting in Skyrim, there's always something interesting to find. As in Enderal, you can also find interesting stuff, and you can find armors and swords, but most of the chests you'll find throughout the world are pretty disappointing. I mean, there are chests everywhere in Enderal. I mean, I've opened hundreds of chests, and they all contain 1 or 2 gold and some crafting stuff. So, yeah, I prefer Skyrim's looting system. I do think that the crafting in Enderal, is better than in Skyrim, because if you're really into crafting, you can craft a lot of swords, a lot of armors, all kinds of things. You can also enchant and brew and all that kind of stuff. That was also done in Skyrim, but I feel that if you're really into crafting stuff, I think you're really feel at home in Enderal. So Enderal wins in that aspect. So yeah, that's pretty much sums it up. And bottom line, it's pretty much a tie, I think. It's a tie. I think Enderal is different from Skyrim. I feel it is a little bit better, but not that much. It's different, and bottom line is that if you enjoy Skyrim, you will enjoy Enderal. And Enderal will give you the reason to come back to Skyrim and do the whole thing again in a different setting, different NPCs, different storyline, and just enjoy it, you know? Thank you for watching.